Alright, this might be the one that you've all been waiting for. Hey forum, my name is Manny, aka CascadeScents, and if you're at all interested in perfumes, colognes, fragrances in general, well this might be the channel for you. I'm not a fragrance expert, more like a fragrance enthusiast, and if you also like discussing fragrances, I think you'll especially enjoy this topic. Of course, this is on my most complimented fragrances of the year, designer edition. But before we get into it, and trust me, we have a lot to get into, as always, just a friendly reminder, 500 likes and a random one of you subscribers in the comment section below will also be the lucky recipient of an assorted niche fragrance sample pack. So if you want to be eligible to win some really expensive samples from some really expensive fragrances, please be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. But with that out of the way, here we go. We might as well get into it, starting with the first one I'm going to mention. It's Bleu de Chanel Eau de Toilette by Chanel. Again, this is my preferred concentration of the Bleu de Chanel DNA in the initial Eau de Toilette. Of course, I've been wearing this one for years, and I love it for its straightforward approach, as far as just a bigger grapefruit opening that's more vibrant, one that's sharp yet sweet, and I think it's the most welcoming. Light, incensey, watery, dry down towards the end of it as well, and it's just overall hard to hate. Just citrusy, woody, watery awesomeness in the EDT right here. And maybe in years prior, this thing would be ranked nearer towards top of my list, but I can't say it is now anymore. And I'll say that for a couple reasons. One, because I haven't been wearing it as much. I'm just not as enthused to more now that I'm into this fragrance lifestyle. There's other ones that I want to check out other than this Bleu de Chanel DNA. And number two, honestly, because a lot of people own this now. Like, I've been recommending this stuff to a lot of my homies, if not some of my girl homies who are buying this stuff for their mans. So it's almost like this is less flattering now because it comes off as ubiquitous, at least in my experience. But if this scent really means that much to someone, they might say something about it to you. That is really nice. And do I really feel like this is good amongst the casuals who are not really into fragrance, but they smell something this breathtaking for the first time. So that's why I feel like this DNA in any concentration is still worth any place on any list like this. Again, this list is completely results driven, so if it's working for me, chances are it's working for other people as well. So again, still proven, still rocks. It's Bleu de Chanel Eau de Toilette by Chanel. Next up, we have something here that's kind of polarizing, but nonetheless made my list. This one's Dior Homme Parfum by Christian Dior. Like, we're talking about this cold weather right now. You want something that's going to cut through that stuff, something that's also chic that you can go on a night out with. Definitely consider Dior Homme Parfum. Again, I keep mentioning this fragrance as this, but it is really true. You have an iris leather bomb of a scent right here. Big iris opening, and it transitions into a sandalwoody kind of leather, and it is rather brazen too. I think it would definitely fit wearing a leather jacket as well. But of course, this vibe is not as catch-all as something like a Bleu de Chanel. So the reason it makes my list is because the people who do so happen to compliment me on it actually really like it. So I feel like you're kind of indifferent to it / maybe hate it, and or you really like it, and the people who really like it will actually tell me about it. Like, they'll ask me what it is and if they can get it themselves. And again, there's very few compliments that are more flattering than that. So as a result, it makes the list this year. Again, it's Dior Homme Parfum by Christian Dior. Moving on from DHP into a more of another all-rounder of a scent. This one right here is called Icon by Dunhill. And Icon, I just think, is a total all-star. We're talking a fragrance in the first of its DNA that is of Eau de Parfum concentration, so it has a little bit of balls as far as its performance, which I think is necessary if you want to kind of use it to get through your workday. And for the most part, I can. It's still projecting off of me just a little bit towards the end, which I really like. But at first, it honestly has one of the most delicious bergamot openings out there, which I really love. It's also supported by aromatics and pepper as well, so it's going to pop in your nose too. And then it just kind of furthermore dries down into something more aromatic and woody. And hey, as long as you watch your spray count with something like this, I feel like you can rock it anytime during the year. You know, whether you want to go more or less for different occasions. So yeah, I also find myself recommending the scent because of that. And again, for the sake of this list, because of its feedback. Like, I find that people like this scent if they're kind of tired of the Bleu de Chanels of the world and they want something slightly more mature and or sophisticated. That's the type of person who will gravitate towards this. But yeah, you kind of throw this bergamot on top of anything, it's bound to be loved. So please check this out if you've yet to. Again, it's Icon by Dunhill. Now moving on to the all-rounder of all time for me. This one is called Terre d'Hermes Eau de Toilette by Hermes, of course. And yeah, I know I keep mentioning this scent, but honestly, it's really all I need sometimes when it comes to just designer scents. Like, Icon's cool and whatnot, but when it comes to this style of ISO-y super and how clean it is and how woody and earthy it is at the same time, I just find that so invigorating and so addicting. And if I'm going for groceries and I don't know which scent to reach for, I reach for Terror, lunch dates, coffee dates, you get the idea. It's that dumb reach of a scent, and it's just hard to ignore because of that. On top of that, I've kind of learned to love the slightly harsh-ish opening. Of course, the orange is great, but if you kind of smell it off your skin right there, it's a little bit more intense. For me, at first, it was too intense to the point where I actually didn't want to fuck with it for a while, but I revisited it eventually, and eventually I just kind of let it waft in the air, and as soon as I got some of those wafts and realized how, again, invigorating it smelled in a clean, earthy way, that's when I was hooked. So sometimes fragrances aren't meant to be smelled like this, but like this. And again, I definitely feel that way about Terre d'Hermes, and a lot of people do like it as a result too. So yeah, not a lot for me to hate here in Terre d'Hermes. I still rock it to this day, and it's still getting me these results, so there you go for what that's worth. It's on this list. And last but not least, a more recent pickup of mine, and somehow it's crushing it lately. This one is Spice Bomb Extreme by Viktor Rolf. Like, I deadass picked this up recently, and it's crushing it with unsolicited compliments. And it's funny because I jokingly say that this stuff right here is what Spice Bomb was initially supposed to smell like, because in some aspects I feel like it's less extreme, and people do like that. I mean, you trade in some of the spices for some of that vanilla, especially towards the dry down. I feel like this is a really nice cozy scent. Like, whether you're just taking it easy indoor with a loved one or you're going out on a date, I just feel like this stuff is so flattering. I also find that it doesn't project as much off my skin as maybe an initial formulation of the initial Spice Bomb, so for what that's worth, there's that. Like, for me, that's a bonus because I also don't want to project that much because that's not really me. But I did mention it before, and I'll mention again, despite not wanting that much projection, I do want a lot of longevity, and I still get a lot of that here. So I'm not only getting a compliment an hour in, but at times even 3 to 4 hours into my wear, like at lunchtime, I'll still get feedback with this one right here. And more often than not, it's from women, and sometimes I feel like they might even be asking me because they want to wear this themselves. And it's funny because I mentioned in the past, I actually have girlfriends who actually do wear Spice Bomb themselves too. Not to say that this vanilla here is girly within Spice Bomb Extreme, but it is rather unisex, I'll just say that. But if you yet to give this one a shot, definitely do so if you've yet to, especially if you're into the Spice Bomb DNA as it is already. But again, I think it's a lot of fun. So there it is for them, Spice Bomb Extreme for the win atop this most complimented fragrance list. But yeah, I mean, that was a lot of fun. Thank you for pulling up. I really appreciate the ongoing support. At this point in the video, I'd request that you guys tell me in the comment section below what your most complimented fragrances of 2019 are yourself. Again, if you want to be eligible for that giveaway too, please be sure to like and subscribe. But yeah, I am really looking forward to what you have to say. So until then, I think that about does it for me. So thanks again, Forum. Take care for now. Peace out. Bye. Wear your fragrances.